Gu Qingfeng is an ordinary demon hunter and prison guard working at the Demon Suppression Bureau. Despite working in this place, his goal in life is to be transferred literally anywhere else, as long as it's far away from the demon prisons and the demons inside them. In his wildest dreams, he never expected that he would ever enjoy working in this place and experiencing all the beatings he had to go through. But this is the story of how everything changes. On this particular day, Qingfeng enters the prison only to be immediately called over by a demon behind the bars. The demon immediately tries to use her seduction powers to lure Qingfeng into letting her escape. Qingfeng bites his own lip to wake himself up from the illusion and reminds himself that if he opens the door, the demon would literally suck his blood dry. A lot of his colleagues had already died the same way, and he has no plans to follow in their footsteps. Qingfeng stands boldly and exclaims to the demon that her powers won't work on him. He then quickly walks away before the demon can see the blush on his face. Unfortunately, the demon didn't give up, but instead stood up and increased the power of her seduction. She then clearly commands Qingfeng to open the doors. Qingfeng had to focus all of his willpower to not glance back, because if he does, he would know that he would fall into her spell. He reminds himself that he is in the Demon Suppression Bureau, where these evil demons are held. All of a sudden, sharp sounds emanate through the cell as the demon pulls out her whip and threatens to discipline him for disobeying her orders. Qingfeng's arousal increases as he finds the whole situation truly thrilling. His mind is slowly trying to convince itself that it's okay to look back. He's even justifying it to himself that there are other guards who can take her down anyway, so it's okay for him to look. Unfortunately for him, his perseverance finally crumbles when the demon calls him her husband and shows him her sexy feet. All thoughts finally leave Qingfeng's mind, and he opens the cell door with his keys. The demon smiles in triumph and immediately pounces on Qingfeng's neck to suck out his blood. But to her confusion, nothing happened. She quickly backs away, even though Qingfeng is supposed to be still in her control. Meanwhile, Qingfeng shakes his head as a system activates and a voice speaks out in his mind. The system warns him that he is being attacked by a demon and that his physical defense is automatically activated. This also causes Qingfeng to wake up from the hypnotism that he was under. Qingfeng couldn't remember what he was doing and where that strange voice was coming from. He is about to leave when he notices that the cell door is open and the demon is standing just inches away from him. Qingfeng was surprised and horrified, while the demon freaked out over his strange behavior. Qingfeng tries to make a run for it, while the demon steps out of the cell and uses her superhuman ability to leap over Qingfeng's head in a single bound. Now she is blocking Qingfeng's escape route. She then smiles as she dashes forward to attack the man. Her fangs soon sink in again into Qingfeng's neck, and Qingfeng realizes that he is about to die. However, the mysterious voice echoes in his head again, notifying him that his defense has increased. Qingfeng and the demon stumble back into the cell, where they crash violently into the wall. Qingfeng was sitting down on the floor with the broken wall behind him, but he's not afraid anymore. He smiles as he realizes that he actually has a system. He asks the system what his functions are, and the system explains that only Qingfeng can see him. Its official name is also the Become Stronger system. Its one and only function is that it makes the user stronger anytime he is attacked by demons. This means that as long as an opponent is a demon, the host cannot be harmed, but instead will make them stronger. Qingfeng smiles widely because this would mean being the demon prison's guard would surely be a breeze now. Meanwhile, the demon uses Qingfeng's momentary distraction to pounce on him once again. Qingfeng panics and slaps the girl into the ground with his newfound strength. Qingfeng's hands are now rated E for everyone. The demon was surprised and enraged that a mere human would dare raise his hands against her and injure her pretty face. She is infuriated and uses her full power to attack again. In the blink of an eye, her fingers wrap around Qingfeng's throat and throw him into the ground. Meanwhile, Qingfeng's defense increases by 2. Qingfeng wonders if he continues provoking the demon. Does that mean his defense would just continue to increase? The demon girl continues to be infuriated that Qingfeng doesn't seem to be hurt at all by her attacks. She jumps into the air and fires off beams of energy at Qingfeng. Meanwhile, Qingfeng just sits down and absorbs her attacks, all the time counting how many points his defense increases. He lies down on the floor and sleeps, even when the demon girl annoyingly stomps on him and kicks him for slacking off and fighting her. This continues on for 2 days, but Qingfeng notices that although he was earning plus 3 points during the first day, he is now only earning plus 0.5 points. Thankfully, the handy system explains to him that due to his increase in defense, The damage being done to him is steadily decreasing, which means the bonus decreases as well. Qingfeng realizes that he cannot just use a single demon if he wants to become invincible. He would have to go out and hunt stronger ones. Annoyed, he slaps the demon girl and orders her to massage his legs while he lies down and rests. The demon girl cannot believe the audacity of this man. He had just ordered her, a demon, to massage him while he just slept on the floor. She pummels him with punches for the next few hours, but this just ends up exhausting the demon girl while fully increasing Qingfeng's defense until he reaches the talents Bronze Skin, Iron Bones. Qingfeng observes that his defense won't increase anymore from this particular demon, so he stands up and caresses the demon's lips. He then orders her to turn off her battle mode and dispel her armor. When the demon girl doesn't listen, Qingfeng stretches his arms and prepares to give her a lesson. He starts kicking the girl down until she finally agrees to transform back. The demon wipes away her tears as she goes back to her normal clothes. Meanwhile, the masochist Qingfeng tells her that since she cannot help him by increasing his defense anymore, then she should instead entertain him by dancing for him. Left with no choice, the demon girl dances for Qingfeng's amusement, while Qingfeng's amusement for a few hours to the point that she falls down in exhaustion. Qingfeng then tosses her back into the cell and warns her to remember the dance moves he taught her for next time he visits. With that, he leaves the prison and heads over to the library. It is now time to research how he can get more powerful. Based on the books he found, there are 3 levels in the demon prison. The first level is where they detain low-level demons and cultists. This is also where Qingfeng had just been. The second level is where they imprison mid-level demons, so only yellow-ranked demon hunters and above can enter. Lastly, the 3D level is where they contain the high-level demons. This also has the strictest requirements to enter, with one needing to be a mysterious ranked demon hunter and above to be given permission to enter. Currently, Qingfeng is just a temporary intern, so he needs to become a yellow-ranked demon hunter if he wants to become an official employee and explore the next level. He pockets his work manual and heads over to explore the first level. Unfortunately for him, his boss arrives and informs him that his shift is over. Thus, Qingfeng has no choice but to remove his uniform, wear his normal everyday clothes, and exit the prison. Before he leaves, he asks his system if self-cultivation is useful at all other than being attacked by demons. Unfortunately for Qingfeng, the system doesn't give him an answer at all. Qingfeng wonders if this means that the system wants him to rely on himself rather than asking the system all the time. He heads over to the nearby library to continue his studies. While perusing the shelves, he finds a book titled Iron Cloth Shirt. Since this sounds similar to his new talents, Bronze Skin, Iron Bones, Qingfeng guesses that it must be good to learn both. In addition to that, they both work by strengthening his muscles and skin. He takes the book and starts cultivating inside the cultivation room, where a brazier is lit to help cultivators concentrate. To Qingfeng's amazement, he managed to cultivate the skill and learn it in just one day. This is breathtaking since normally, it takes people over a decade of hard work to learn external skills. He leaves the cultivation room satisfied and happy. He also plans to use the skill Iron Cloth Shirt to hide from others the existence of his talents, Bronze Skin, Iron Bones. The next day he arrives early at the demon prison ready to work. His colleague, Zhang Zheng, was surprised to see him since normally, Qingfeng is sullen and hates his job. In fact, he usually arrives 30 minutes late to his shift. Qingfeng scratches his head and tells his friend that from now on, he has decided to work hard. He also wants to repay Zheng for covering for him every time he was late in the past, so he will now come an hour early to work every day. Zheng wonders if Qingfeng is sick or something, but since this means he gets to go home early, he happily waves goodbye to Qingfeng and leaves the demon prison. After Zheng leaves, Qingfeng grins and wonders which demon he should visit now. Unfortunately for him, the prison's keys seem to have a mind of its own as it drags Qingfeng to a mysterious door. The door has multiple chains restraining it and multiple paper seals covering it. Qingfeng's curiosity gets the better of him, and he slides open the door's window slot to see who is inside. To his utter horror, a large red glowing eye was already staring right at him when he opened the window. Qingfeng wakes up to find himself transported to a meadow full of flowers. He looks around, but it is nature in all directions, and he literally has no idea where he is. In the distance, a couple seems to be playing by the grass. Up above, the sun is shining beautifully and making the whole scenery warm and peaceful. Qingfeng then notices something strange. The sun here seems to be red. But what Qingfeng thought to be the sun earlier turns out to be an eye, as it opens its eyelid and glares directly at Qingfeng. Qingfeng was transfixed in fear, and he can feel the aura of death envelop him. In an instant, the bed of flowers surrounding him disappeared, and he found himself in a desolate landscape with skulls decorating the ground. Meanwhile, the eye in the sky generates a body for itself, until it slowly becomes a giant cyclops treading the ground. It was so huge that Qingfeng could only watch in horror as it stepped its foot right in front of him. The shockwave blasts him back, and the giant cyclops reaches out to him. The system then notifies Qingfeng that he had just been attacked by an eye demon. As a reward, his soul power increased by 10 points. Qingfeng looks around, and he is back at the demon prison in front of the mysterious door. He realizes that what he saw earlier wasn't real, and he was just under an illusion technique. Meanwhile, the demon on the other side of the prison cell orders Qingfeng to open the door. Qingfeng opens the lock, neutralizes the paper seals, and slowly pushes the door open. The eye demon celebrates as Qingfeng enters the cell and promises to exact his revenge once he escapes the Demon Suppression Bureau. But to its confusion, Qingfeng pushes the door close, trapping both of them inside. He scolds Qingfeng and glares at him with its single large eye. He orders Qingfeng to open the door again, but Qingfeng is getting annoyed at the flying eyeball. Furthermore, he couldn't pretend anymore, so he grabs the eye staring right at his face. The eye demon tries to fly away, but Qingfeng just jams his fingers right in the middle of its eye. Blood drips on the floor as the eye demon screams at Qingfeng for poking him in the eye. He demands to know how Qingfeng had managed to break through his eye technique, but Qingfeng just shrugs his shoulders. Instead, he offers to bring the eye demon to the infirmary for treatment of his bleeding eye. The eye demon immediately knows that it's a trap based on Qingfeng's goofy face, so he instead fires another eye technique straight into Qingfeng's face. Qingfeng was blinded by the attack, and when he opened his eyes, he was again under another dimension. The eye demon once again has a huge muscular body and threatens to torture him for eternity. Even when Qingfeng knows that it's an illusion, he couldn't help but still feel the sense of oppression. The eye demon then commands Qingfeng to kneel, increasing the surrounding gravity to force Qingfeng. Qingfeng could feel his knees shake in protest as it tries to fight off the overwhelming gravity, but the demon opens up more eyes all around the sky. Soon enough, the system notifies Qingfeng that his soul power increases again by 10 points. Not only that, he broke through his limit and was awarded the eye technique, Illusion Vision. Qingfeng's eyes burn like hell as the technique implements itself to his vision, and he furiously rubs his eyes against the pain. A few seconds later, the technique finally activates, and when he looks at the imposing figure of the eye demon, he immediately changes it to a vision of himself sitting on the throne. Qingfeng smiles wickedly in delight, and he warns the demon that he will use him as his test subject. With their roles now reversed, he commands the tiny eye demon to come closer. The eye demon's body gets twisted around by the Qingfeng's energy, and it is forcefully flung into Qingfeng's waiting hand. The eye demon realizes that not only did Qingfeng break through his eye technique once again, he also took control of the whole illusion. Qingfeng snaps his fingers and illusory walls sprout out all around them, and then, with one great sweeping motion, throws the eye demon like a baseball into the walls, letting him bounce around like a ping-pong ball. When it bounces back to him, Qingfeng claps his hand in prayer and prepares for the demon eye to land straight into its point. Blood spurts all around the cell, and Qingfeng happily leaves the prison cell, letting the demon eye know that he is only spared because he helped him learn a new skill. After his adventure with the eye demon, Qingfeng once again heads toward the library. He takes out another book about illusion magic that teaches him how the eye illusion technique has two functions. He can control others with it or create illusions. Unfortunately, since it's an eye technique, the user must have eye contact with the target and has higher spiritual power than the enemy. Any deviation from these requirements would either reduce the effectiveness of the skill or outright have no effects. Qingfeng was happy with all this information, since this just means that the technique can grow stronger as he also grows stronger. He can also use the illusory eye technique against certain martial artists. Martial arts in this world is divided into 5 categories. These are 1. Ki Gathering Realm 2. Internal Energy Realm 3. True Energy Realm 4. Gang Energy Realm, and lastly, 5. Innate Realm or Grandmaster. These 5 also correspond to the 5 ranks in demon hunting, including Demon Hunter, Yellow Rank, Profound Rank, Heaven Rank, and Earth Rank. These 5 ranks are further divided into 9 levels called heavens, with the martial artist only leveling up in rank when he manages to reach the 9th heaven of his current rank and break through the next. As for Qingfeng, he is currently a 3rd heaven of the lowest rank of demon hunters. Thanks to the system, he is climbing the heavens in leaps and bounds, and he wonders how high he can reach when he finishes clearing the whole demon prison. While walking through the prison, a voice suddenly calls out to Qingfeng from one of the cells. He approaches the sealed door and asks the occupant why he's calling. When he opens the cell window, he sees that the occupant is an old man. The old man then asks Qingfeng if he is there to collect materials for talismans. Qingfeng has no idea what the old man is saying, but the old man continues to expound how the demon hunter department approached him half a month ago to collect materials. He guesses that they must be in a tight battle, so they must have run out of materials quickly. The old man then starts pulling something out of his robe, and Qingfeng prepares himself for a fight. However, the old man just brings out a piece of wood attached to his skin and rips it off of his body. He then happily offers the wood to Qingfeng. The old man was surprised when Qingfeng bravely stick his hand through the door window to accept the wood. However, the old man just smiles wickedly and puts the wood into his waiting palm. Qingfeng intently studies the piece of wood that the old man gave him, but try as he might, he can only see a piece of tree bark. He tries to smell the bark, and he immediately recognizes it as smelling the same as the paper talismans that are all over the prison doors. This must be what the old man was talking about. Qingfeng further realizes that this must also be the reason why the demon prison was created in the first place. They captured a tree demon and used the bark from its body to create talismans. The old man must be a tree demon, and Qingfeng couldn't help but praise the demon hunter department for having such a renewable resource of materials. He quickly hides the wood in the folds of his clothes, since it might be valuable. He wonders if he should use the demon to level up too, but he doesn't want to feel guilty, so he opts to just find someone else. Qingfeng had only taken a few steps when the old man called out to him and asked him if he could accompany the old man for a while and have a conversation. The old man reveals that he has been in his prison for 10 years already, but no one had even spoken to him through all of those years. As such, he hopes that he can at least talk to someone before he dies. Qingfeng takes pity on the old man, so he heads back and opens the cell window. The old man started his story 100 years ago in a small village. In the village, a boy named Zhang accidentally planted a small locust tree. Of course, this story is just the tree demon's way of hypnotizing Qingfeng into opening the cell door. Unfortunately, his story is interrupted when he spots Qingfeng already entering the prison cell with him. He asks him why he's not afraid of him, but Qingfeng replies that he can just tell that the old man is a good demon. He then sits on a hanging vine near the old man. The old man wonders if he should continue telling the story or just directly attack Qingfeng now. Meanwhile, Qingfeng is just using the vine as a swing and arrogantly acting like a child in a playground. The old man continues the story of the little locust tree. When the tree grew up, it became a monster and ate the people of the village. Meanwhile, vines are slowly filling up the cell, poised to attack Qingfeng at a moment's notice. Qingfeng asks the old man if the story is finished already, but the old man points out he has no need to continue it anymore. He then transforms into his true form as a tree demon, but Qingfeng immediately punches him in the face. Qingfeng scolds him for not having enough professionalism to finish the story before attacking him. The tree demon stands back up and creates some distance between him and Qingfeng. He then sends his vines to attack Qingfeng, and a few seconds later, Qingfeng is all tangled up within the vines. The system notifies Qingfeng that he just gained +5 strength due to the attack. The tree demon approaches the strung-up Qingfeng, but Qingfeng smirks and goads him to tighten up the vines more. His taunting works, and the tree demon completely wraps Qingfeng in vines. He then starts squeezing and squeezing Qingfeng. Meanwhile, inside the cocoon of vines, Qingfeng is just continuously earning more and more strength points. He soon exceeds the limit of his strength and obtains the power of strength of 9 bulls and 2 tigers. Upon reaching the peak of what he can obtain from the tree demon, Qingfeng easily breaks out of the vines, holding him, and jumps back down to the ground. The tree demon was stunned to see him unscathed, but Qingfeng just smirks and starts cracking his knuckles. He then jumps on the terrified demon. A few minutes later, the old man is now massaging Qingfeng, who is relaxing on a table. The old man continues his stories of the locust tree and of how he was captured by demon hunters. He was actually turned into a tree demon because of a magic weapon. He was planted in a place where the wood attribute weapon is buried, and this caused him to take on physical form as a tree. Qingfeng guesses that the magic weapon they are talking about must be at least mysterious rank if it was able to transform a demon. Magic weapons are actually weapons with spiritual intelligence. They also have their own ranks that correspond to the 4 ranks of demon hunters: Heaven, Earth, Mysterious, and Yellow rank. The old man informs Qingfeng that the particular weapon that transformed him is called the Wood King's Sword, an Earth rank magic weapon from hundreds of years ago. Unfortunately, the passage of time had caused the weapon to lose its spirituality, so it can only be ranked now as a mysterious rank. Qingfeng also pointed out that the tree demon could have absorbed some of this spirituality that caused the weapon to decrease in rank. Nevertheless, he orders the old man to tell him where the Wood King's Sword is. The old man doesn't want to tell where it's hidden, so Qingfeng shakes him like a tree until he finally spits out the truth. The sword is in the Shensen Temple in Jixin Country. With that, Qingfeng finally leaves the cell. Since it's almost dawn already, Qingfeng decides that it's already too late to retrieve the sword now. His shift is also almost over when his mind starts to wonder how the demon he encountered, the corpse sprite girl, is doing now. He visits her cell and demands for her to change into a more mature look with revealing clothing. The demon follows his orders, but Qingfeng suddenly orders her to stop and he quickly leaves the cell, leaving the confused demon behind. Under a sakura tree, the handsome Qingfeng receives yet another confession from a classmate. Qingfeng is a heartthrob in school, with all the girls wishing to become his girlfriend. He then snaps his fingers and the scene changes. Now, Emperor Qingfeng is sitting on his throne and surrounded by his concubines when a soldier announces that they are being invaded by beautiful girls all wanting to marry the emperor. However, Qingfeng just invites them all to his harem. The scene abruptly fades and Qingfeng wakes up back in the real world. He is still being massaged by the demon girl, but he scolds the eye demon for dispelling the illusion. The eye demon shakily notifies Qingfeng that it's actually time for his shift to end, so he has to go. Qingfeng waves goodbye to his 2 slaves and puts them back in their respective prison cells. Qingfeng heads toward the exit, where he bumps into his colleague, Zhang. He notices that Zhang seems to be in a good mood, and upon seeing Qingfeng, Zhang grabs him by the shoulders, looks around to verify that nobody's around, and whispers to him the rumor going around town. It looks like that a few days ago, a group of demon hunters went to the Withered Bone Forest, but they all ended up being wiped out. This means that there are vacancies now in the rankings that they can exploit. Qingfeng points out that they probably won't be promoted since they are still in the 4th heaven of the Key Gathering Realm. Zheng agrees with him and relays that 4 inner Key Gathering Realm demon hunters were already promoted to Yellow rank, and while 1 Yellow rank was promoted to Profound rank. However, there is still 1 vacancy for a Yellow rank position, and all the inner Key Gathering Realm demon hunters are promoted already. Thus, the Demon Hunter Bureau would conduct a martial arts competition to determine who gets to be promoted to this last competition. The winner of the competition would then be encouraged to cultivate until he reaches levels needed to become a Yellow rank demon hunter. The competition would start in 3 days, and Zhang had already seen a lot of people signing up. There are no restrictions on the competition, so not only are the 9th Heaven Disciples signing up, the 8th Heaven Disciples are too. This is good news for Qingfeng because he has 3 days to prepare for the competition and win it. If he finally becomes a Yellow rank demon hunter, he would be allowed to enter the 2nd level of the demon prison, where he can find stronger demons to use in his system. But for Zheng, this tournament is just wishful thinking for those of them in the lower ranks. After all, it would be nearly impossible for them to defeat the 9th Heaven Disciples. He was about to go on his way when Qingfeng grabs him and asks where they are signing up for the tournament. Zheng is confused, but he still tells Qingfeng, who quickly waves goodbye. Qingfeng knows that he has to tread lightly. His system only works against demons, so even if he joins the tournament, the other martial artists could kick his butt. Moreover, joining such a prestigious competition is against his low-key nature. But still, he now has all of these skills and talents like bronze skin, iron bones, illusion vision, and more. One of these abilities would be enough to tip the balance in his favor, and since he has 4 of these overpowered skills, he can surely do it. Zheng realizes what Qingfeng must be planning, and he tries to persuade him not to sign up. However, Qingfeng just replies that all of their haters would shut up if he wins the competition. He then exits the demon prison, leaving behind Zheng, who couldn't help but wonder where Qingfeng's new confidence is coming from. Zheng tried to catch up with his friend Qingfeng had already walked far ahead. Since he cannot physically stop Qingfeng anymore, he pulls out his manual and thinks of a way to save his friend from joining a deadly tournament. The registration for the tournament is currently being held at the Righteous Key Hall. There, an employee is listing down the name, cultivation level, and positions of all would-be contestants. A commotion occurs when one famous disciple, Gu Qingfeng of the Ninth Heaven of the Key Gathering Realm, signs up for the tournament. He is known for single-handedly defeating an iron-armored zombie, a feat that should only be possible for internal energy realm experts. Another participant is Bai Ming, the descendant of the White Horse with a shining silver spear. Next, a white-haired demon trainee joins the tournament, Yi Xuan of the Seventh Heaven Key Gathering Realm. The registrar is hesitant to let him join because he is only of the Seventh Heaven, but Yi Xuan insists. Some disciples snicker and make fun of him for trying to join, but Yi Xuan just coolly states that cultivation level doesn't determine victory or defeat. He calls them ignorant and cowardly for not signing up. An argument was about to start when someone suddenly shouted his support of Yi Xuan. It was Qingfeng, and he states that he is motivated to join the tournament thanks to Yi Xuan's words. Yi Xuan thanks him for his support and loudly states that as martial artists, they should all be brave enough to challenge stronger opponents, even when they have higher cultivation levels than them. Others are now also getting hyped up, so Yi Xuan thanks Qingfeng and they shake hands. Unfortunately, when Qingfeng reveals that he is actually just only at third heaven level, even Yi Xuan gets pissed at his overconfidence. Before anyone can stop him, Qingfeng approaches the table and registers for the tournament. In the swamps outside the city, a horse disturbs the stillness of the forest. Riding this horse is Qingfeng, who is looking for a handy spiritual weapon. Since there are only a few days left before the martial arts competition starts, he has decided that the best course of action for him is to locate the Wooden King's sword that the demon tree mentioned and retrieve it. After a few hours of hard riding, he spots a concentration of demonic energy. This is actually what Qingfeng is looking for, since demons would probably be near a powerful spiritual weapon. He jumps at the demonic energy, but finds out that he only caught a bunch of fireflies in his palms. Nevertheless, they do lead him to the village where the Wooden King's sword is said to be buried. He was surprised that he never encountered even one demon, but he follows the demon tree's instructions and enters the backyard of the village's mountain temple. At the backyard, he spots a majestic locust tree growing from the ground, and he guesses that in a few more years, this very same tree would probably evolve into a demon tree just like what happened in the past. With the location now found, he throws down his tools and picks up his shovel. Qingfeng rigorously digs a large hole at the base of the tree. After digging a few meters underground, his shovel finally hits something solid. Qingfeng clears away the dirt, and he smiles upon seeing an old box buried in the soil. Qingfeng opens the box, but he was crestfallen when he sees that there was only a simple wooden sword inside. Is this really the legendary Wooden King's sword? Qingfeng picks up the sword and decides to test it out. He swung the sword at the handle of the shovel beside him, and to his horror, the wooden sword broke in two while the shovel remained intact. Qingfeng promises retribution at the tree demon for lying to him and leading him through a wild goose chase, and he decides to chop it down after he returns to the demon prison. However, he notices that the broken sword he was holding had now grown back its broken tip. It now looks as brand new as before. Meanwhile, the broken part of the blade that fell off buried itself in the ground and rapidly grows roots. The roots violently grows a few meters tall and tries to wrestle the sword free away from Qingfeng. All while this is happening, rapid amounts of ki are being unleashed by the sword. Qingfeng has no idea what's happening, but he won't just let the roots steal the sword away from him. He stabs the sword at the growing vines, and the sword easily blows a hole through it. This stops the vines while Qingfeng grins since he just learned the correct way of wielding the Wooden King's sword. After the short battle, Qingfeng now tries to make the Wooden King's sword recognize him as his master. According to the tree demon, the way to do this is to drip his blood into the blade. He tries to cut himself with the sword, but instead, the wooden sword's edge got chipped. Qingfeng starts getting annoyed at the crappy sword, and he hits his hand a few more times to try and make himself bleed. A few seconds later, he starts getting dizzy, and he accidentally drops the sword by his side. Tiny little vines start sprouting from the sword, and it soon attaches itself to Qingfeng. Qingfeng doesn't stop it, and soon enough, the vines are extracting his blood and transferring it into the sword. The sword glows red with his blood, and veins etch itself in its surface, thumping in sync with Qingfeng's own heartbeat. Unfortunately for Qingfeng, his knowledge is still lacking when it comes to spiritual weapons. These weapons aren't easily mastered by just about anyone, and the owner needs to have enormous strength to control them. If the owner fails to have this strength, The spiritual weapon can absorb the owner until they die. This is what's currently happening to Qingfeng. Qingfeng doesn't understand why the wooden king's sword still hasn't stopped absorbing his blood. Qingfeng focuses his ki into his hand and threatens to bury the sword if it doesn't stop. The sword retracts its vines, and Qingfeng falls to his knees in exhaustion. He curses at the sword and drops it to the ground. To control a spiritual weapon, martial artists would generally need to be at the internal energy realm. Qingfeng is sadly just in the ki-gathering realm. This means he can only provide the needed ki to the spiritual weapon by letting it suck his blood. The only reason Qingfeng managed to survive was thanks to his unique constitution provided by the system. If he didn't have that, he would have become a mummified corpse already. Qingfeng starts cultivating to restore his lost ki, and the system notifies him that he finally obtained the Wooden King's sword. It was a top-grade spiritual weapon at the Earth rank, but since it was buried for so long, it has now deteriorated to a lower grade. If Qingfeng wants to restore it to its former glory, he would have to nurture it carefully. The system also tells Qingfeng that the sword's special skill is that it can regenerate any broken piece. Qingfeng picks up the sword and acknowledges that the sword is indeed strong. He silently thanks the tree demon in his mind and promises that as a reward, he will kill the tree demon with it. After all, the tree demon would just wither away the demon prison, so it would be better to use it to nourish his new sword. Qingfeng smiles wickedly with his new plan. Raindrops start falling from the sky, and Qingfeng curses his bad luck. He decides to enter the temple to wait for the rain to stop. Inside the room, there was the weathered and beheaded statue of the temple's god. Based on Qingfeng's research, the people in this region worship the mountain god, who they believe has the power of all beings, can expel evil, and even help people avoid calamities. The people also believe that if the statue of the mountain god is broken, this means that there is a powerful demon nearby that can overpower the god's protection. Qingfeng lights a fire in front of the statue and settles himself for the night. An hour later, Qingfeng is eating his dinner when he hears footsteps coming outside. He wonders if the demons have finally arrived when the door opens and an entourage of people walk in. Leading them is a beautiful maiden in a green dress. Upon seeing them, Qingfeng says one word, "Hi." Qingfeng guesses that these people are probably not demons. Meanwhile, the ladies' guards encircle her and stare threateningly at Qingfeng. They look at him and at the weapons he has on the ground. The head guard, a man named Sing, then tells their lady that the temple is relatively safe, so they will rest there for now. Meanwhile, their other men would secure the outside to ensure their safety. With their orders given, the group disperses, with Xai watching through the window, and the others standing outside ready to draw their weapons at any hint of trouble. As for the lady, she smiles and greets Qingfeng happily. Qingfeng smiles charmingly and greets her back. However, head guard Sing abruptly throws a pouch of coins at Qingfeng's feet. He tells Qingfeng that the temple is already crowded, so it's better for him to leave with the coins and find another place to stay for the night. Qingfeng ignores Sing's words and just continues eating his dinner. He was the first one to find the temple, so how can anyone else order him to leave? However, what Qingfeng says is that the money is not enough. He asks Sing to throw more coins his way. Sing asks him for his price, so Qingfeng replies that he wants 24 taels, more than 12 times the amount of coins offered earlier. Sing releases his aura and warns Qingfeng not to be greedy. Qingfeng realizes that Sing is at the true energy realm, way out of his league. If the opponent was in the internal energy realm, maybe he could still eke out a win with all of his talents. But since this bald man is at the true energy realm, he has no chance. Thankfully, the lady interrupts their conversation and points out to her guards that Qingfeng was here first. Thus, they have no right to make him leave. She smiles and apologizes to Qingfeng for the rudeness of her guards. Qingfeng, in return, lowers the price to 20 taels. The lady laughs and asks him to stop joking. She tells him that there might be demons outside, so they should all settle down in the temple. Qingfeng thanked the lady for her generosity, but he was actually regretting not leaving earlier. 2 taels of silver was better than nothing, and he can handle any demon outside. Meanwhile, outside the temple, the lightning that flashes overhead lights up the blood on the tiles. The men that were guarding the outside of the temple are now all dead. Inside the temple, the lady offers to share her food with Qingfeng. Her guards complain since they don't have that much food left, but Qingfeng arrogantly accepts the food. When their hands touch, the girl blushes and looks lovingly towards Qingfeng. Meanwhile, all the guards menacingly glare at him. Qingfeng ignores the burning glares of the guards and asks the lady if he can know her name. The lady introduces herself as Sei Wei. while Qingfeng also relays his name. Sai Wei narrates how her father was transferred to Wutong County and she is just on her way to visit him. She thinks it's destiny when she learns that Qingfeng himself is from Wutong County. The two are about to start talking about the customs of the regions when Xing feels that something is amiss. He shushes the two talking and readies his sword. He also tells the other guards to protect their lady while he goes out to take a look. When he leaps outside, he immediately sees the fallen bodies of their comrades. Based on their corpses, there didn't seem to be a fight, but they were directly killed. He also guesses that the sound of rain must have muffled their deaths, so he didn't notice sooner. Behind Xing, a lone figure is standing on the rooftop. The assassin then addresses Xing and scolds him for making the chase difficult. He then releases his red key and jumps down to the ground behind Xing. Xing recognizes that this assassin is the Blood Demon sect's White Bone Elder. The assassin compliments Xing for recognizing him, and he demands that Xing hand over King Yun's daughter. Xing easily rejects his demand and shrouds his blade with ki. With that, the battle begins. Inside the temple, the lady and her guards are readying themselves for a fight. They had heard the whole thing outside, so they knew that an assassin had come for her. Meanwhile, Qingfeng is confused what the Demon Blood sect is and who the Elder White Bone is. Thankfully, Sai Wei has the same questions, so a guard explains to her that the Blood Demon sect is a cult of martial artists who worship demons. They perform demon magic to increase their strength and prolong their life. Basically, they are trying to turn themselves into demons. The Elder White Bone is one of their higher-ranking members at the Gang Energy Realm and is also the successor of the corpse refining lineage. Sai Wei was so horrified to hear about all of this that she accidentally stumbled backward. Before she can hit her head, Qingfeng swoops in to catch her. Sai Wei thanks him, but she is still confused why such a cult wants someone like her. Her guard then explains that her father actually solved a major case involving the Blood Demon sect, which is why he was promoted to become the governor of Wutong County. The sect must want to capture Sai Wei to use her as a bargaining chip against her father. Qingfeng couldn't believe that Sai Wei is actually the governor's daughter, but he realizes that this is actually a good opportunity. He calls out to a nearby guard and asks him if the members of the sect are humans or demons. When the guard inquires why he wants to know, Qingfeng reveals that he is actually a demon hunter from the Demon Suppression Bureau. Sai Wei lovingly looks at him with pleasant adoration and asks him if he has a way to defeat the Elder White Bone. Meanwhile, her guards all laugh themselves silly. They explain to Sai Wei that even though Qingfeng is a demon hunter, he's of the lowest rank and his cultivation is only at the key gathering stage. Thus, he cannot really stand toe-to-toe against stronger enemies. Sai Wei immediately understood this and begs Qingfeng not to risk himself. However, Qingfeng confidently states that all he needs to know is if the Elder White Bone is a demon or not. The guard finally answers his question and states that the Blood Demon sect members are humans with transplanted demon organs. Thus, they are considered half-demon only. Qingfeng asks the system if half-demons can harm him, and to his utter shock, the system reiterates that he will only get stronger if attacked by demons, not half-demons. Disappointed, Qingfeng curses his luck, since he was already so confident and prideful earlier. The temple's doors were then suddenly blown open by a gust of wind, and a new figure emerged. It was a tall, rotting zombie. Moreover, the zombie didn't come alone. A horde of them were now forcing their way into the temple. Qingfeng hypothesizes that these zombies are probably made by the Elder White Bone. A battle ensues, with Sai Wei's guards doing their best to keep the zombies at bay using their swords. Unfortunately, they soon realize that the zombies are too many, so one of the guards pushes his comrade back and orders him to set up the barrier. The other guard hesitates, since he knows that holding back the zombies is a two-man job. But the other guards insist, and he starts igniting his own life force to fuel his ki. The zombies continue their charge while the other guard focuses on erecting the barrier. The zombies are now getting close to Sai Wei, so Qingfeng starts to help. He has no chance against a half-demon like the Elder White Bone, but he should be able to fight these demons. However, one still manages to slip past their guard and attacks Sai Wei head-on. The zombies were about to put their hands on her, but thankfully, the first guard managed to kill it. Wounds cover his whole body, his blade broken from the prolonged fight, and lastly, his life force is barely flickering. He says one final goodbye to Sai Wei, succumbing to his wounds and letting the zombies overrun him. Meanwhile, another fierce battle is ongoing outside between the Elder White Bone and head guard Xing. Xing notices that the temple is getting overrun with zombies pouring in from the entrance, so he tries to throw his sword at the zombies to kill some of them. Unfortunately, the Elder White Bone notices this and redirects his sword using his ki to fall harmlessly to the ground. He then warns Sing to focus on the battlefield in front of him. Sing knows that he has to quickly defeat the Elder White Bone if he wants to help his comrades, so he enhances his body to its utmost potential. His clothes rip as his muscles bulge and his height increases. He then charges at the Elder White Bone with just his fists. The Elder White Bone grins and doesn't even dodge. Sing's fist collides with the Elder's face, but surprisingly, Sing was the one who gets blown back. The Elder White Bone had completely turned himself into a silver-armored demon. The Elder White Bone proudly proclaims the superiority of his skills and his zombie slaves. With Sing now defeated, he turns around and moves to his next target, Sai Wei herself. The wounded Sing urges his lady to run away, but his vision slowly fades as he loses consciousness. Meanwhile, Sai Wei and Qingfeng are temporarily safe inside the barrier erected by one of the guards. Qingfeng uses this momentary peace to ask the system if zombies also fall under the category of demons. When he learns that they do, he declares that it's time for him to take up the mantle and fight. He thanks Sai Wei for the food earlier and promises to save her as repayment. Qingfeng then walks out of the barrier despite Sai Wei's protests. Qingfeng boldly walks toward the zombies, who quickly overruns and overwhelms him. A few seconds later, Sai Wei was horrified when she saw Qingfeng drop his sword. Sai Wei guesses that Qingfeng must be sacrificing himself to buy them time to escape. Meanwhile, Qingfeng's defense continues to increase as the mob of zombies to him relentlessly. Sai Wei soon notices that the group of demons is now slowly being pushed out of the temple. They are amazed that Qingfeng is still alive under all of those undead. Due to the high number of attackers, Qingfeng quickly exceeds the limit of his defense once again, and his bronze skin, iron bone skill evolves into adamantine body. Qingfeng then releases his ki, blasting away all the zombies mobbing him. The Elder White Demon warily stares at him, but Qingfeng just smirks. Now that the Elder is fully a demon, Qingfeng doesn't have to fear anything anymore. The Elder White Bone laughs uproariously at the arrogance of Qingfeng to face him. He unleashes his blood-red bone evil fire and warns Qingfeng that no matter how strong he is, his fire is made from the literal bones of 1,000 humans and demons. However, Qingfeng just compliments his fire for being warm. The insult angers the Elder, and he throws a fireball at Qingfeng. Qingfeng jumps back, and his fire attribute increases by plus 300 due to the super powerful attack. His fire attribute exceeds its limit, and he unlocks the skill, Fire Control. Qingfeng quickly uses the new ability to dispel the Elder's fire and absorbs it into his hand. The Elder's jaw dropped in shock. He thought it was impossible that anyone else could control the fire that he was refining for decades, but he could clearly see the fire is now dancing in Qingfeng's palms. The Elder tries to command the fire to return to him, but no matter what he does, the fire doesn't budge. He screams at Qingfeng to return his fire to him, and since Qingfeng is a good dude, he obliges. He prepares to throw the fire at the Elder, who starts running away in fear. Unfortunately, the fire was too quick, and it hit the Elder in a huge explosion that shook the whole mountain. The bone evil fire continues to rage in the middle of the temple courtyard, forcing Sai Wei and the others to cover their eyes. Its explosion was so strong that Sing was flung around like a doll. Qingfeng knows that he has to control the raging fire quickly, so he inhales deeply and breathes in the fire. The vacuum causes Sing to roll around again like an old log, so the others run to help him up. While her guard helps Sting, Sai Wei approaches Qingfeng. She was shocked to see that the Elder White Bone had turned to ashes. Meanwhile, Qingfeng is regretting burning the Elder Descenders because now he cannot even loot the corpse. A powerful martial artist would have spiritual weapons, elixirs, martial arts books, and a lot of money in his body. Qingfeng burned them all down. Sai Wei bends down to ask him if he's okay, but she starts blushing when they get close. Sing and the other guard guess that their lady must have fallen for Qingfeng thanks to his strength and charm. Qingfeng chuckles and invites everyone to return inside the temple so they can resume their meal. The others are shocked that Qingfeng would just go back to food just like that, but Sai Wei voices her support and points out that eating is the best thing in the world. Qingfeng relights their campfire, and Sing profusely thanks him for saving all of their lives. He apologizes for disrespecting him the first time they met. Qingfeng replies that he just did it to repay the barbecue they offered him earlier, but Sing just laughs. He formally introduces himself as the steward of the new governor. He then pulls out a token from his bag and offers it to Qingfeng. Likewise, he then informs Qingfeng that he can use the token at their county if he ever needs any help from the governor's office. Qingfeng accepts the token and wonders what he should do with it. The other guard also prostrates himself in front of Qingfeng and apologizes for being rude to him all the time. He also apologizes for underestimating Qingfeng and requests for a punishment. Qingfeng agrees that he must be punished, which surprises Sai Wei. She was about to interrupt, but Xing stops her and explains to her that a normal guard cannot offend a powerful individual like Qingfeng. Therefore, it makes sense for the guard to be punished. But to Sai Wei's delight and Xing's surprise, Qingfeng just asks for monetary payment. The guard offers to pay more to Qingfeng, but Xing scolds the guard. He points out that a powerhouse like Qingfeng doesn't need money, and is just showing mercy to the guard by asking for money. Thus, it would be disrespectful of him to offer more. The guard once again apologizes and offers the correct amount, while Qingfeng glares at Xing for stopping the guard from paying more. He could have earned a lot more if not for that meddling bald guy. With the danger now past, the group spent the night cooking, eating, and conversing. Qingfeng is resting while pondering everything that happened during that day. He is surprised at how drastically the people change their attitudes toward him once they learn of his strength. The system also fully explains his new skills, Adamantite Body and Control Fire. Adamantite Body fully upgrades his older defense skills, while Control Fire would make him basically invincible against fire-based enemies. In addition to that, he also has the Bone Evil Fire that he stole from the Elder. Qingfeng goes to sleep happy with all the rewards he got. The next morning, Qingfeng is preparing to depart when Sai Wei surprises him with a question. She asks him if he is willing to go back to Wutong County with her. Qingfeng was entranced by Sai Wei's beauty, so he happily agreed to escort her back to Wutong Country. 2 days later, they reach the city and Qingfeng says his farewell to the girl. Sai Wei watches Qingfeng ride away on his horse until Xing reminds her that since they are now living in the same county, they would have plenty of opportunities to meet again. With that, they continue their journey to meet her father. At the martial arts arena, crowds are gathering to watch the first match of the tournament. The first match is between the 7th Heaven prodigy Yi Xuan versus He Yi, an older 9th Heaven demon hunter. The commentators guess that He Yi would easily win due to his superior cultivation level, and they all remember how arrogant Yi Xuan was during the registration period. Their prediction seems to come true, since He Yi easily parries Yi Xuan's sword and manages to strike him from behind. Yi Xuan falls to his knees, and He Yi rests his blade against Yi Xuan's neck. He had basically won, but he then kicked Yi Xuan off the stage. Thankfully, Qingfeng arrives and catches Yi Xuan before he hits the ground and gets more injured. The first match ends with He Yi's victory. Qingfeng was called for the second match, and his opponent is a 9th Heaven disciple named Lin Xiao. The audience snickers at Qingfeng, and they laugh at him when they learn that he is just a 3rd Heaven fighting against a 9th Heaven martial artist. They also pity Qingfeng for believing Yi Xuan's speech during the registration period about how cultivation levels didn't matter when Yi Xuan himself was just defeated earlier. Yi Xuan blames himself for encouraging Qingfeng to join the tournament. Now he will get hurt just like him. Meanwhile, the tournament arbiter approaches Yi Xuan and advises him to leave since his match is already over. In the arena, Qingfeng's opponent Lin Xiao smiles happily. It would be an easy win for him since he got matched up against a literal child. He advises Qingfeng to just resign and give him the points already, since he'll just end up losing anyway. But Qingfeng argues that they still haven't competed. Lin Xiao doesn't want to take advantage of the weak, so he offers Qingfeng the opportunity to use his weapon while he would fight only with his bare hands. Qingfeng rejects his offer once again and points out that if he manages to win with his weapon drawn, then people would think it's because the match is unbalanced. Unfortunately, Lin Xiao is still supremely confident that he will win, so he even offers to handicap himself more. If Qingfeng manages to make him move even an inch, then he would resign and won't blame him for anything. Qingfeng was getting annoyed at how arrogant his opponent was, so he accepted the offer and drew his sword. He announces to the whole arena that his sword is the Wooden King's sword, a mysterious grade spiritual weapon. The audience laughs at him and points at his wooden sword. It looks so old and broken that they don't believe it's a spiritual weapon. They are now starting to believe that Qingfeng must be crazy. Qingfeng once again asks Lin Xiao if he won't complain even when he loses without drawing his weapon, but Lin Xiao just replies that he won't. With that response, Qingfeng immediately charges with his sword and stabs Lin Xiao. The sword manages to cut through Lin Xiao's sword, but Lin Xiao grabs the sword and stops it. He is now annoyed at Qingfeng and calls him a child playing with a wooden stick. He squeezes the sword and breaks it. Qingfeng looks at him unamused, and Lin Xiao notices that the stick has wounded his hand. The broken off part of the sword drops into the ground and starts to emanate qi. A few seconds later, vines erupt from the ground, and soon enough, a majestic tree had grown right underneath Lin Xiao's feet. He finally realizes that Qingfeng wasn't joking. The sword was truly a spiritual weapon, and he wouldn't be able to break free from the mighty tree. The tree's branches and vines wrap around him like rope and start squeezing him. Lin Xiao coughs up blood while Qingfeng just watches and asks him to surrender. Lin Xiao angrily cries out that the match is unfair, so Qingfeng reminds him that he already made a promise he won't blame Qingfeng if he loses. He also points out that he clearly stated that his weapon is of mysterious level, and yet Lin Xiao still decided to fight without a weapon. Lin Xiao still argues back and asks the judges if they can have another match without spiritual weapons. That way, it would be much more even. Qingfeng, meanwhile, counter-argues that there are no rules prohibiting the use of a spiritual weapon, so their earlier match is clearly legitimate. The judges laugh at his bravery, and since Qingfeng was right, they award him the win. Qingfeng dispels the tree binding Lin Xiao, and Lin Xiao lands back on the ground. Qingfeng was about to leave when Lin Xiao called out to him and asked him for another match. However, the judge himself ordered Lin Xiao to accept his defeat and leave the stage. A while later, Qingfeng was approached by one of the judges, Master He Fenghua. Fenghua tells Qingfeng that with his level of cultivation, he won't be able to utilize the full potential of the Wooden King's sword. Therefore, he is offering to buy the sword at a price of 1,000 taels. Qingfeng rejects the offer and states that it's a family heirloom, but deep inside, he is also insulted at the low price Fenghua offered. At that moment, the female judge also arrives to join the conversation. She had just finished scolding Lin Xue for trying to have another match, and she is calling Fenghua since the next round of duels are about to start. Fenghua amicably leaves with her, and Qingfeng silently thanks her since he knows that Fenghua desperately wants his Wooden King's sword. However, Fenghua also has another scheme in mind. With his new plan, Qingfeng would willingly hand over his spiritual weapon to him. As for Qingfeng, he heads over to the cultivation room. He notices how a lot of people seem to care about his cultivation level. Even if he doesn't rely on it much and just uses his skills to fight, he decides to raise his cultivation level to avoid garnering too much attention. He opens his Demon Hunter manual and starts following its steps in cultivation. Qingfeng concentrates his Qi in his inner stomach and starts tempering it. A whole day passes, and Qingfeng is horrified to learn that he just slept the whole day. Cultivation is so boring that he couldn't concentrate on it. He asks the system if there is a way for it to increase his cultivation level. After all, it did increase his defense and strength attributes, so there must be a way unless the system is just turning him into a muscular man. Unfortunately, the system replies that it cannot increase his cultivation system since he doesn't have cultivation at all. It explains that Qingfeng is just at the Qi gathering realm, so he is just storing the Qi of the surroundings in his body. True cultivation only occurs at the internal energy realm, where the user is converting the stored Stai into unique inner Qi. When Qingfeng reaches this level, then the system might be able to help him grow more. Qingfeng tries to ask for an exception, but the system just bonks him in the head. Qingfeng knows that with his current attitude, it would probably take him a long time to reach the internal energy realm naturally. He puts it out of his mind for now and heads out to join the second round of the tournament. Despite everything, Gu Qingfeng had decided to move on to the second round of the competition. Although he had only third-level energy gathering skills, he possessed a legendary mysterious rank spirit weapon, which drew a crowd around him at the martial arts field. Curiosity about the Wood King's sword was widespread. In the Demon Quelling Bureau, most yellow-ranked demon hunters use regular weapons. Only mysterious ranked demon hunters might have access to a yellow-level spirit weapon, while Earth-ranked demon hunters had mysterious rank spirit weapons. The only Earth-level spirit weapon in the entire Bureau belonged to Heaven-ranked demon hunter Li Qianren. Yet Gu Qingfeng, just an apprentice demon hunter with third-level energy gathering skills, owned a mysterious rank spirit weapon, stirring envy among many. His opponent that day, a man at the 9th level of energy gathering, did not think he had much of a chance against such a powerful weapon. He decided to strike first, hoping to defeat Gu Qingfeng before the spirit weapon could be used. Charging at Gu Qingfeng with a sword, he was about to land a blow when vines from the Wood King's sword formed a wooden shield, too strong for his sword to break through. Frustrated, he jumped back to create some distance. Seeing Gu Qingfeng well protected, he hesitated, unsure of what to do next. Chapter 31. However, Gu Qingfeng didn't allow him time to figure it out. The vines seized the man's sword and with a single strong tug, disarmed him. The vines then spread wildly, even rising from the ground, catching the man off guard. When the moment seemed right, Gu Qingfeng had been ready to return the sword and end the fight. But unexpectedly, the man attempted a sneak attack. Unfortunately for him, the vines reacted quickly and whipped him away in an instant. The audience fell into stunned silence. In the next round, Gu Qingfeng didn't bother using words. He simply bound his opponent with the vines and sent him off the stage. Though not severely harmed, the man was left humiliated and the audience had mixed feelings about it. Then, an older competitor stepped forward and asked Gu Qingfeng for a fair fight, suggesting he would lower his power to match Gu Qingfeng's third-level energy gathering. Before the man could finish speaking, Gu Qingfeng's vine struck again, sending him flying. As the man soared through the air, Gu Qingfeng casually asked what the man had said since the wind was too strong for him to hear. After that match, Gu Qingfeng advanced to the top 4, but the other contestants teamed up against him. They complained to Manhwa, accusing Gu Qingfeng of cheating by relying too heavily on his spirit weapon, making the competition unfair. Seizing the opportunity, Manhwa sent Huang, one of his stewards, to deal with Gu Qingfeng. The next morning, while Gu Qingfeng was cultivating in his room, Huang arrived and bluntly informed him about the complaints and the boycott from other demon hunters and martial artists. It was said that he would be willing to assist him if Gu Qingfeng agreed to sell the Wood King's sword. He was offered the opportunity to continue using the sword until he reached the rank of yellow rank demon hunter, after which it would need to be handed over. In exchange, Gu Qingfeng would receive a large sum of money, the position of yellow rank demon hunter, and Lord He's favor. When presented with these threats and offers, Gu Qingfeng simply asked what would happen if he refused to sell it. Huang shrugged, feigning helplessness, and replied that Gu Qingfeng would be banned from using the Wood King's sword in the competition. His progress would stop at the top 4, costing him the chance at the yellow rank demon hunter title, and he would also risk injuring Lord He. Unfazed by the situation, Gu Qingfeng decided to dismiss the steward. He instructed Huang to inform Lord He that the Wood King's sword was a family heirloom and that he had no intention of selling it, so no deal would be made. After delivering his message, Gu Qingfeng sent the steward away. Steward Huang sneered, coldly remarking that Gu Qingfeng was being foolish and lacking in tact. At the martial arts field, the crowd was filled with excitement. Many felt sorry for Hu Banking, who was Gu Qingfeng's next opponent and considered one of the favorites to win the competition. Hu Banking, with his 9th level energy gathering cultivation, had once defeated an ironclad corpse, a feat that almost propelled him into the inner energy realm, making him a half-step inner energy expert. Unfortunately for him, his opponent was Gu Qingfeng. Just before the match began, Hu Banking approached the judges, stating that there was something important to discuss. He accused Gu Qingfeng of exploiting loopholes in the competition's rules and cheating by using his spirit weapon. According to Hu Banking, the competition was meant to find the strongest and most deserving candidate for the yellow rank demon hunter position. He claimed that without his spirit weapon, Gu Qingfeng lacked real strength and the character needed to earn respect. Hu Banking requested that the judges revoke Gu Qingfeng's right to use the spirit weapon in order to ensure fairness. Manhwa, seizing the opportunity, asked if Gu Qingfeng had anything to say. To everyone's surprise, Gu Qingfeng calmly responded. He stated that the spirit weapon had been used only to avoid damaging his opponent's confidence. He suggested that people were wrong to think he could only win with it, and he asked what would happen if he didn't rely on the weapon. His words caused the crowd to laugh. They mocked him, believing he couldn't win without the spirit weapon, especially since his previous victories had involved using it against 9th level energy gathering opponents. Without it, they assumed his words were just empty boasting. Ignoring the crowd's mockeries, Gu Qingfeng confidently put the Wood King's sword away. He remarked that pretending to be an ordinary person had only earned him coldness and ridicule. It was declared by him that he wouldn't hold back any longer and would reveal his true strength. Gu Qingfeng claimed he had long been invincible in the energy gathering realm and vowed to win even without the spirit weapon. After Gu Qingfeng's statement, He Fenghua naturally revoked his right to use the spirit weapon. The match began, and Hu Banking, noticing that Gu Qingfeng had only third-level energy gathering cultivation, underestimated him. In response, Hu Banking put away his long sword and attacked Gu Qingfeng with his bare fists. A loud thud echoed as Hu Banking's fist connected with Gu Qingfeng's head. But in the next moment, it was Hu Banking who cried out in pain, his hand appearing broken. This sight shocked He Fenghua, who jumped from his seat, unable to believe that Gu Qingfeng had mastered the iron cloth robe technique. A one-eyed woman nearby couldn't help but admire him, thinking that such a genius in external cultivation was beyond imagination. The audience was filled with excitement, finding it hard to believe that Gu Qingfeng, who was only at the third level of energy gathering, had withstood a punch from a ninth-level practitioner. Meanwhile, Hu Banking, recovering from the pain of his broken bone, grabbed the long sword he had planted in the ground earlier and charged at Gu Qingfeng once again. To his shock, the attack was effortlessly blocked by Gu Qingfeng, who then snapped the sword in two with minimal effort. Gu Qingfeng asked if he already realized the gap between them. He claimed his true strength wasn't meant to be used so that their confidence wouldn't be crushed. He wondered how he would console himself after being defeated by a martial artist at just the third level of energy gathering. Faced with the seemingly invincible Gu Qingfeng, Hu Banking, though terrified, stubbornly retorted that he hasn't lost. Growing tired of the argument, Gu Qingfeng pressed his hand on Hu Banking's head. He slammed his face into the ground with enough force to leave an indentation. Hu Banking immediately lost consciousness. After dusting himself off, Gu Qingfeng smiled and asked the steward to announce the result, once again winning the match with ease and overwhelming his opponent with sheer strength. As Gu Qingfeng left the arena, his next opponent, Bai Meining, watched him in despair, doubting whether his spear could even pierce Gu Qingfeng's skin. He Fenghua noticed Bai Meining's reaction and later approached him, asking if confidence was felt regarding defeating Gu Qingfeng in their upcoming match. Reluctantly, Bai Meining admitted that his spirit was broken and doubt was expressed about his ability to penetrate Gu Qingfeng's iron cloth robe. To his surprise, a spear called Facing the Phoenix was presented to him by He Fenghua, a lower-tier yellow-grade spirit weapon that had never been used in public by He Fenghua. Bai Meining was confused by He Fenghua's intentions. It was coldly explained by He Fenghua that Gu Qingfeng's arrogance and violent nature would make him a disastrous yellow-rank demon hunter. The spear was offered, with assurance given that it could break through Gu Qingfeng's iron cloth robe. Grateful, Bai Meining accepted the weapon. Feeling that his luck had changed and that a real chance to become a yellow-rank demon hunter was now available to him, even earning Lord He's favor. However, Bai Meining soon realized something was wrong. Weren't spirit weapons banned in the competition? If it was used, open rule breaking would be involved. He Fenghua clarified that only Gu Qingfeng had been forbidden from using spirit weapons. Bai Meining hesitated, realizing that a scheme was being crafted by He Fenghua to make him cheat. While competition could proceed with the judge's approval, his reputation would inevitably be tarnished. After considering the possibility of becoming a yellow-rank demon hunter and the potential damage to his reputation, Bai Meining eventually agreed. The following day, Gu Qingfeng arrived at the arena on time for the match. As soon as he stepped onto the stage, all eyes were on him. His recent victory over opponents 6 levels stronger had made him the talk of the town. Some people had been so impressed that they started learning the iron cloth robe technique, leading to a shortage of books in the library. When facing Bai Meining, Gu Qingfeng casually asked whether the fight would proceed or if Bai Meining preferred to concede immediately. Bai Meining, refusing to back down, responded that Gu Qingfeng should not be arrogant. It had been said that Gu Qingfeng prided himself on his unbeatable defense, but it was claimed that Bai Meining was not someone to be underestimated. It had also been stated that Bai Meining had developed his own spear technique, which could pierce through anything. Bai Meining declared that if Gu Qingfeng could withstand just one strike, he would admit defeat. Seeing how confident Bai Meining was, Gu Qingfeng decided not to speak further. His shirt was calmly opened, and Bai Meining was told to aim carefully. He claimed that the clothes might get torn otherwise. Bai Meining seemed excited, but Gu Qingfeng's face darkened. He wondered if Bai Meining had some strange obsession as he stared at Gu Qingfeng's chest for so long before enthusiastically giving a thumbs up. The real fight began shortly after. Bai Meining swung his spear with a lightning technique. He struck directly at Gu Qingfeng without a word, The audience immediately voiced complaints about the unfairness of the fight. Gu Qingfeng had been banned from using his spirit weapon, yet Bai Meining was allowed to use his, which appeared entirely unjust. With a loud boom, flames exploded across the stage, and Bai Meining, holding his spear, smiled confidently, believing he had won. However, when the flames cleared, Gu Qingfeng stood unharmed, protected by a glowing golden bell shield. The audience gasped in surprise, realizing the golden bell shield had been used in its full form. It was no wonder Gu Qingfeng could withstand the spirit weapon. The fully mastered golden bell shield, combined with the iron cloth rogue technique, made his body as strong as a lower-grade yellow-rank spirit weapon. Calmly, Gu Qingfeng remarked that the so-called self-developed gun technique had been used. It was questioned whether relying on a spirit weapon could truly be considered self-developed. Bai Meining was in disbelief. He struck with his spear again, but it didn't move an inch after hitting Gu Qingfeng's golden bell shield. Impatience was shown by Gu Qingfeng, who asked if the stabbing was being enjoyed. Bai Meining, filled with fear, stared at Gu Qingfeng, making him uncomfortable. Gu Qingfeng inquired why he was being leered at again. It seemed Bai Meining misunderstood the situation, thinking he was being guided to attack the chest on purpose. He concluded that something must be wrong with Gu Qingfeng's chest and decided to aim for the navel instead. However, when he struck again, the spear tip was caught between Gu Qingfeng's fingers and could not move further. Frustration was expressed by Gu Qingfeng as he questioned where Bai Meining thought he was stabbing, calling the action rude. With little effort, Gu Qingfeng snatched the spear and casually threw it out of the arena. The audience lost interest in the fight and rushed to grab the spirit weapon. He Fenghua, the owner of the spear, was unhappy. He hadn't obtained the Wood King's sword, and now Asterisk facing the Phoenix Asterisk might be claimed by someone else. It was a real loss for him. Bai Meining, however, remained triumphant, claiming there must have been a problem with the chest, as stabbing elsewhere had not been allowed. Gu Qingfeng was left speechless, thinking all Bai Meining could do was stab. It was also pointed out by Gu Qingfeng that he had previously mentioned not to damage his clothes. Bai Meining was then beaten by Gu Qingfeng, leaving him bruised and swollen. Only after the beating did Bai Meining realize that Gu Qingfeng's refusal to let him stab his stomach was merely to avoid tearing his clothes. Tired from the fight, Gu Qingfeng stood up slowly, but his robe was grabbed by Bai Meining, who was still kneeling on the ground. A ripping sound was heard as the clothes were torn. Bai Meining was about to surrender, but a punch was already thrown by Gu Qingfeng, sending him flying out of the arena. Gu Qingfeng's victory in the match was then announced by the referee, securing him a position as a yellow-rank demon hunter. After congratulating him, Steward Huang and the one-eyed woman handed him the standard equipment for yellow-rank demon hunters, the Goose Feather Blade and the Exorcism Token. The Goose Feather Blade, though not a spirit weapon, was made from high-quality, under-refined fine steel. A small formation was engraved on it, giving it some power against demons. The Exorcism Token, which appeared to be a symbol of rank, actually had an engraved formation capable of capturing the death aura of demons. Whenever a demon was killed by the token's holder, the token would automatically record the event, acting as a merit tracker. After these items were handed to Gu Qingfeng, the one-eyed woman found an excuse to leave, leaving the remaining tasks to Steward Huang. Thus, Steward Huang had to guide Gu Qingfeng through the process of receiving his promotion benefits. As a newly promoted yellow-rank demon hunter, Gu Qingfeng was entitled to a primordial cultivation pill and allowed to choose a martial technique from the Scripture Vault Pavilion. It was his first time visiting the second floor of the pavilion, and the vast selection of martial arts overwhelmed him, leaving him uncertain about which to pick. In the end, he decided to rely on luck. He closed his eyes and selected a book at random. After a moment of focusing, he opened his eyes and saw the technique he had chosen. However, the administrator advised him to reconsider, warning him that the technique was dangerous. Gu Qingfeng had chosen the Sunfire Sword technique, an extreme sword style. The technique used the sun's fire within the body to attack enemies, but it often harmed the user before reaching the opponent. It required precise control, and even a small mistake could result in self-immolation. For this reason, the administrator recommended that Gu Qingfeng choose a different technique, perhaps something more suitable for killing demons. He was urgently advised by the administrator to be cautious, as the technique was considered truly dangerous. However, it was confidently stated by Gu Qingfeng that no hardship was too great to showcase success. He also asked if he believed in fate if it has chosen him. If there was one person in the Great Flame Dynasty who could master this technique, it had to be Gu Qingfeng. After this statement, no further explanation was provided by Gu Qingfeng as he left the scripture vault pavilion. In his mind, it was believed that he had already been diplomatic enough. He couldn't simply reveal to the administrator that an advantage was held by him. After Gu Qingfeng left, a sigh was let out by the administrator, who muttered to himself that he harmed Gu Qingfeng. As Gu Qingfeng left the scripture vault pavilion, he ran into Steward Huang. Noticing the golden bell shield technique in Gu Qingfeng's possession, confusion was expressed by Steward Huang. He asked why Gu Qingfeng still obtained the book when he already mastered the technique. Gu Qingfeng scratched his head awkwardly. Then an old sage's saying was quoted by him: "To review the old and learn the new, to refine something repeatedly until reaching perfection." This statement deeply touched Steward Huang. He hadn't expected such a profound way of the warrior principle to be shared by Gu Qingfeng so casually. Impressed, on his way back to report, it was decided by Steward Huang not to cause trouble for Gu Qingfeng unless specifically ordered by his superior. However, as he was about to enter the mansion to report, He Fenghua was found standing outside, wearing a veil, with no intention of entering. Upon inquiry, it was revealed that during a search for the spirit weapon, facing the phoenix, it had been discovered by He Fenghua that the weapon had ended up in his own backyard. Coincidentally, it had been thrown into a manure pit. Spirit weapons, being extremely sharp, had caused it to pierce all the way to the bottom. The yard had just been cleaned by He Fenghua, but a lingering odor was still present. It had been heard by He Fenghua that Steward Huang had a poor sense of smell, which was confirmed during their meeting. This made Steward Huang the perfect candidate for the unpleasant task at hand. He Fenghua took Steward Huang to the bottom of the manure pit to help retrieve facing the phoenix. Upon seeing the feces, a cold sweat was broken out by Steward Huang, as a faint return of his sense of smell made him feel somewhat nauseous. Nonetheless, he jumped in and managed to fish it out. Meanwhile, Gu Qingfeng was mastering the Golden Bell Shield at a high level. It was then decided by him to cultivate the Sunfire Sword technique. However, he realized that practicing the technique indoors risked burning down the house, something that couldn't be afforded. A decision was made by him to practice in the suburbs instead. Soon, Gu Qingfeng arrived at the outskirts of Phoenix Tree County. The first step in cultivating the Sunfire Sword was to be continuously exposed to sunlight for an extended period, absorbing the sun's fire energy in a specific manner. This process required the sun's fire energy to seep into one's inner energy, changing its nature. The bright fire-infused inner energy needed to be refined and compressed, nurturing it until it burst forth like fire. However, since Gu Qingfeng was only at the third level of the energy-gathering realm, sufficient inner energy was lacking. Therefore, the second step was skipped by him, concentrating on directing the fiery inner energy into the sword. The technique required compression and ignition of this energy at a precise point to unleash it explosively. Without high-level mastery, self-immolation was a real danger before the technique could even be executed. After reading this, a cold sweat was broken out by Gu Qingfeng as the complexities of compression and ignition were contemplated. Suddenly, the idea of compressing and igniting the white bone wraithfire in the same way occurred to him. The sword was called, and the Wood King's sword was summoned. He attempted to use the Sunfire Sword's method to slash out the white bone wraithfire. If this worked, the technique would have been much stronger and faster than simply throwing the white bone wraithfire. After several tries, the white bone wraithfire was successfully compressed onto the Wood King's sword, which didn't seem too difficult. However, when the slash was executed with confidence, the white bone wraithfire suddenly floated upward and exploded on the spot. Gu Qingfeng wasn't discouraged despite his first attempt. He tried again, following the method outlined in the Sunfire Sword. As expected, the result was the same. It exploded again. After several failures, he finally succeeded. He unleashed a highly concentrated sword energy that split a small mountain in half. The powerful energy continued its path toward Phoenix Tree County. A loud boom echoed, and the sky above the county lit up with a bright blaze, turning night into day. After executing this strike, Gu Qingfeng understood the nature of the Sunfire Sword. It involved high compression, followed by a violent explosion. However, he quickly realized something was wrong. The sword energy was headed straight for Phoenix Tree County. Worried that the explosion might harm people, Gu Qingfeng rushed toward the county. Not long after he left, a group of people arrived at the scene. Leading them was the heaven-ranked demon hunter from the Phoenix Tree County Demon Quelling Bureau. Upon arriving, he immediately sensed the presence of white-bone wraithfire. The method for refining white-bone wraithfire was unique to the Blood Demon sect. Furthermore, the sword marks on the ground showed signs of white-bone wraithfire being used alongside sword techniques. From this, the hunter concluded that the person who wielded the sword must have been a grandmaster from the Blood Demon sect, skilled in both swordsmanship and controlling fire. He also noticed that the sword technique used was the Demon Quelling Bureau's Sunfire sword. This meant the person had either been inside the Bureau or that there was a spy within the Bureau. The Blood Demon sect was the Bureau's greatest enemy, so this seemed like a clear message aimed at them. The hunter guessed their motive. Sending an expert from the innate realm to Phoenix Tree County to swing a sword at night, destroy a mountain, but not harm anyone, was an obvious provocation. The use of the Sunfire sword suggested a spy within the Bureau who knew its secrets. The Blood Demon sect's goal became clear. They were after the Candledark sword. The Candledark sword was an Earth rank, mid-level martial technique, while the Sunfire sword was a mysterious rank, mid-level technique. Both techniques had originated from the incomplete Heaven Rank Cross Underworld Flame sword. Even when combined, the Candledark sword and the Sunfire sword were still incomplete versions of the original. Lee Canron had practiced both, but the texts were not enough to fully recreate the Cross Underworld Flame sword. He speculated that the Blood Demon sect's open probing was meant to unsettle him and force him to reveal the location of the Candledark sword. However, this only confirmed that the original hiding place was safe and didn't need to be changed. Since the enemy had come to him, he planned to use the Candledark sword as bait to lure them out and trap them. Not only could he eliminate a core member of the Blood Demon sect, but he also had the chance to complete the Heaven Rank technique if the enemy carried any other fragments. Still, he decided it was best to discuss this with his colleagues. While walking downstairs, he unknowingly passed by the man he was looking for, Gu Qingfeng. Gu Qingfeng entered the resting room, relieved to see everyone was unharmed. His experiment today with the Sunfire sword combined with white-bone wraithfire had been a huge success, far more powerful than he anticipated. However, using this technique in the future could be risky. It might accidentally harm innocent people and cause trouble. The final sword stroke had been more of a lucky accident, and he doubted he could repeat it without practice. This made him realize he needed to train extensively to stabilize the technique and avoid accidents. But the sheer power and noise made it impossible to practice in secret. Then, an idea struck him. He could use ordinary flames instead of white-bone wraithfire. By replacing it with regular flames, the power would be significantly reduced. Thanks to his talent and fire mastery, Gu Qingfeng could control any flame, whether it was ordinary fire or white-bone wraithfire. The key now was to practice the Sunfire sword without attracting attention. With this figured out, Gu Qingfeng pulled out a primordial cultivation pill from his pocket. This pill was essential for martial artists in the inner energy realm, but wasn't very useful for someone at the energy gathering stage like him. He hesitated, knowing that without it, he might never reach the inner energy realm. After a brief moment of doubt, he decided to take it. As the pill dissolved, pure medicinal energy spread through his body, and Gu Qingfeng immediately started absorbing it using the Pure Bright technique. His diligence impressed the nearby demon hunters, who watched as he practiced even in the resting hall, setting a good example for them. An hour later, Gu Qingfeng felt his internal power reach a critical point, but accidentally let out a thunderous fart, filling the resting room with an unbearable stench. It was not fire breathing anymore, but fart breathing. Gu Qingfeng had finally broken through to the 4th level of the energy gathering realm, reaching its peak. He hadn't expected the primordial cultivation pill to be so powerful. A few more pills might have allowed him to advance to the inner energy realm within minutes. However, the Demon Quelling Bureau was stingy, only issuing the primordial cultivation pill once. As a yellow rank demon hunter, one could only get more pills by completing tasks and earning merits. With pills that could speed up cultivation, who would want to work hard, but the only way to get them was to work daily and earn merits, living the life of an honest laborer. Thinking of work, Gu Qingfeng suddenly remembered that today was his first day reporting as a yellow rank demon hunter, and he couldn't afford to be late. He rushed back, but to his surprise, his direct superior turned out to be He Fengua. No wonder He Fengua had been the referee in the recent competition. He had replaced the deceased mysterious rank demon hunter, Mr. Yang, and was now selecting subordinates. Gu Qingfeng realized he might be in trouble for refusing He Fengua twice before. With this in mind, Gu Qingfeng felt uneasy but still reported for duty. His presence had been announced by him, but He Fenghua remained silent, creating an awkward atmosphere, clearly intending for embarrassment to be caused. Fortunately, a one-eyed woman stretched lazily and greeted Gu Qingfeng, easing the tension. She walked over, placed a hand on his shoulder, and with a smile, it was mentioned that she could only help him this much. His lateness on the first day was acknowledged, and it was explained that a month's salary would be lost as punishment. A lesson was hoped to be learned by him. Then He Fenghua was asked for his opinion, and he agreed, stating that the punishment was acceptable. Gu Qingfeng was left stunned, feeling that a month's salary had been lost on his first day of work. He wondered whether they were messing with him. Gu Qingfeng then complained that when he had arrived, the sundial had barely missed the appointed time, and it was stated that fault should not have been placed on him for them not hearing his report. He Fenghua gave him a sharp look and responded that the rules were being enforced fairly. A suggestion was made to check the sundial to verify the time, and it was proposed that admitting a mistake might lead to leniency. Gu Qingfeng simply chuckled, noting that he was displaying authority and seemed to be abusing power to suppress others. This statement caused shock among the other demon hunters in the room. Gu Qingfeng's boldness in confronting a superior on his first day was admired, though there were doubts about whether he understood the importance of showing respect under someone else's authority. He Fenghua picked up his cup and calmly asked if Gu Qingfeng realized that slandering a superior was a crime. Intimidated, Gu Qingfeng accused He Fenghua of framing a subordinate, coercion, and manipulating the competition. As soon as these words were spoken, the entire room fell into shock. He Fenghua crushed the cup in his hand, his face darkening as he stated that such defiance indicated Gu Qingfeng must be tainted by demon evil. It was declared that Gu Qingfeng would be assigned to the demon-quelling prison to spend his life as a prison guard. Hearing this, Gu Qingfeng was briefly stunned, thinking it might be a stroke of luck since he had been looking for an excuse to transfer to the demon-quelling prison. Now an opportunity was being offered to him by He Fenghua. Gu Qingfeng stepped forward, grabbed He Fenghua's hand gratefully, and tearfully expressed his thanks, secretly feeling thrilled inside. He thought about how he would soon face the second-layer demons. He Fenghua, however, was confused, believing that Gu Qingfeng was acting out of fear. At that moment, the one-eyed woman intervened, suggesting that He Fenghua reconsider since they were short-staffed after recent upheavals and he wasn't a heartless man. Gu Qingfeng quickly interrupted, insisting that he should not be pardoned and should be sent to the demon-quelling prison immediately. The one-eyed woman, furious at his stubbornness, scolded him for not backing down when given the chance. Gu Qingfeng paused, wondering why he could actually want to go there, which left the one-eyed woman completely puzzled. She even questioned whether Gu Qingfeng had lost his mind. Suddenly, He Fenghua coughed to stop the discussion. He stated that he would be magnanimous and let the matter pass for now. He ordered Steward Huang to take them to select their subordinates, explaining that he had documents to attend to. He Fenghua's leniency was not shown out of kindness, but because the Demon Quelling Bureau was understaffed, and he could not afford any more problems so soon into his new position. For Gu Qingfeng, it was a moment of disappointment as his desired assignment to the second layer seemed to slip away. Steward Huang led Gu Qingfeng to pick his subordinates, explaining that each yellow-ranked demon hunter could choose up to 5 people. Steward Huang introduced the new demon hunters, among whom 4 were high-level masters in the inner energy realm, while Gu Qingfeng was only at the 3rd level of the energy gathering realm. The others were somewhat aware of Gu Qingfeng's past actions, but remained skeptical, viewing his strength as shallow due to his lower cultivation level. They thought that although Gu Qingfeng might be strong in physical combat, he would be at a disadvantage against inner energy realm martial artists. Additionally, they viewed physical strength as limited, compared to cultivation levels. In their eyes, Gu Qingfeng was considered the weakest among the 5, which became obvious when everyone else quickly gathered followers, leaving Gu Qingfeng without any. It seemed as if he was being shunned by the others. Given the limited number of trainee demon hunters available, there were not enough to assign 5 to each person, and Gu Qingfeng realized that he might not be able to recruit anyone at that rate, so he decided to take the initiative by persuading others to join his team. He argued that while following a powerful leader might seem safer, they would still be helpless against demons that were stronger than their leader. It was assured to them that if they joined his team, they would be protected, which would increase their chances of survival. Despite the general disdain toward Gu Qingfeng, there were exceptions, like the fearful Fatty Wang and the scholarly Xu Fan, both of whom were successfully convinced by him. After selecting his subordinates, according to the Demon Quelling Bureau's rules, each yellow-ranked demon hunter was assigned to a specific area to manage demon-related incidents. This assignment was, of course, in the hands of He Fenghua, a mysterious ranked demon hunter. At that moment, Fatty Wang, who stood behind Gu Qingfeng, was silently praying not to be assigned to Blackwater Village. Curious, Gu Qingfeng asked what was wrong with Blackwater Village and learned from Fatty Wang that the recently deceased mysterious ranked demon hunter, Mr. Yang, had died there in the dry bone forest. On a dark, windy night, it was reported that Yang and 4 yellow-ranked demon hunters were patrolling the dry bone forest when the bones suddenly turned into demons and killed him. After hearing about this, a heaven-ranked demon hunter named Lai angrily sent an earth rank and 3 mysterious ranked demon hunters to Blackwater Village. They returned empty-handed, concluding that the demon was not local and had likely moved elsewhere. However, it was clear to anyone with common sense that these were just comforting words. Demons preferred dark places, and the dry bone forest had a particularly dark aura. The demon was likely very intelligent, hiding when the demon hunters arrived and re-emerging once they left to continue its crimes. After He Fenghua took over Mr. Yang's position, he became responsible for Dark Mountain County, which included Blackwater Village. This made Fatty Wang fearful of being assigned there. He even asked Gu Qingfeng about his relationship with He Fenghua, hinting that they should request some leniency. Gu Qingfeng awkwardly smiled and stated that he had a good relationship with He Fenghua and would surely receive special consideration. Upon hearing this, Fatty Wang became overjoyed, believing that Gu Qingfeng's connection with He Fenghua would keep them safe. However, He Fenghua coldly assigned Blackwater Village to Gu Qingfeng, leaving Fatty Wang stunned and questioning Gu Qingfeng's earlier claim. Gu Qingfeng awkwardly nodded and admitted that they had a history. Realizing the situation, Fatty Wang fell to his knees, understanding that he had gotten himself into a bad predicament. He suggested to Gu Qingfeng that they patrol only the outskirts of Blackwater Village without entering, in order to fulfill their duty. But Gu Qingfeng insisted that such deceit was not fitting for a demon hunter, whose duty was to protect the people from demons. Fatty Wang glared at Xu Fan, urging him to persuade Gu Qingfeng otherwise. Xu Fan, however, solemnly agreed with Gu Qingfeng, stating that it was their responsibility to save the people from disaster and restore order. Xu Fan added that he had come to the right place, and that Gu Qingfeng was truly a hero. Hearing this, Fatty Wang was completely shocked, unsure if Xu Fan was flattering Gu Qingfeng or had simply lost his mind, and he wondered if it was still possible to prepare for his own demise. Gu Qingfeng turned with a smile, reassuring everyone that there was no need to worry, as mere demons posed no threat with him around. He noted that they still had 3 days before heading to Blackwater Village. Gu Qingfeng planned to use this time to practice the Sunfire Sword. However, he realized that using ordinary flames would be less effective and cumbersome because he would need to light them first. He thought about simplifying the process of igniting the flames, ideally wanting them to be ready as soon as he drew his sword. Suddenly, an idea struck him. Why not use a lighter? He planned to forge the sword blade from special flint material, fill the scabbard with special oil, and add a catch mechanism that would ignite the oil when the sword was drawn. With his talent for fire mastery, he felt confident that there would be no worry about the remaining oil in the scabbard igniting, as it could be extinguished. Feeling clever with his modern approach, Gu Qingfeng went to the blacksmith at the Demon Quelling Bureau to craft his weapon. Unexpectedly, the blacksmith, who was a fitness enthusiast, initially refused his order. Gu Qingfeng sighed at the typical attitude of a public servant, but decided to use his financial influence by handing over money and the design. Upon seeing the money, the blacksmith's attitude changed dramatically, and the design was studied intently. After a while, concern was expressed by the blacksmith that a sword made from flint would be extremely fragile and unsuitable for combat. Gu Qingfeng had anticipated this and instructed him to follow the design anyway, explaining that the sword was not intended for fighting but solely for performing the Sunfire Sword technique. Understanding his intent, the blacksmith asked Gu Qingfeng to return in 5 days. Realizing he would be heading to Blackwater Village in 3 days, Gu Qingfeng felt he could not take such a risk and offered more money for a 3-day completion. Initial hesitation was shown by the blacksmith, but he agreed after seeing the extra money and got to work while shaking his bubble butt. Driven by the extra payment, the fire sword was completed by the blacksmith in just 2 days. Gu Qingfeng named the sword Yanmo. For safety, extensive preparations were made by Gu Qingfeng. He included a demon-slaying sword blessed by a master, the goose feather blade from the Demon Quelling Bureau, and the regenerative and adaptable Wood King sword he had found during his practice. Additionally, 7 talismans and a bottle of energy-nourishing pills were packed. With these preparations, Gu Qingfeng felt confident about the upcoming mission and called Fatty Wang and Xu Fan to set out. However, it was noticed by Gu Qingfeng that Fatty Wang seemed to have gained even more weight, which was learned to be due to him wearing an extra layer of thick armor out of fear. Gu Qingfeng marveled at how Fatty Wang managed to move in such heavy armor. The group set off and finally arrived at Blackwater Village in Dark Mountain County by dusk. Fatty Wang noticed a presence nearby, but it was only a bird watching them from a tree branch. He sighed in relief and caught up with the others. Seeing the peaceful scene in Blackwater Village, Gu Qingfeng wondered if demons really existed there. Nevertheless, he decided to enter the village to take a look. As soon as they entered, an old man named Hu Liang, the village head, stopped them. After a brief exchange, Hu Liang recounted the recent events in the village. A month before, a mysterious black wind had started blowing through Blackwater Village, abducting children. At first, the villagers did not pay much attention, thinking that wild animals, which were common in their mountainous region, were responsible for the disappearances. However, when more children went missing, even from their homes, and witnesses claimed that a blinding black wind was responsible, Hu Liang, who had encountered demons during his travels, reported the incidents to the Demon Quelling Bureau. That was when the tragedy of Mr. Yang occurred. Strangely, after Yang left, it was noted that no more children disappeared, as if the claim about a transient demon made by the Earth-ranked demon hunter was true. After learning the full story, Gu Qingfeng told Hu Liang to return home, planning to explore the dry bone forest while there was still light. However, Fatty Wang grabbed his shoulder, suggesting that they report back since there had been no demon disturbances for several days, indicating that the demon might have left. Gu Qingfeng firmly rejected the idea, declaring his intention to stay in Blackwater Village overnight and threatening to expose Fatty Wang's cowardice if he chose to leave. Internally, Gu Qingfeng hoped to encounter a demon for a chance to level up. Seeing no way out, Fatty Wang hastily agreed to stay. Their attention was then caught by a seller of candied hawthorn, especially attracting Fatty Wang, who asked Gu Qingfeng and Xu Fan if they wanted some. As Tu Fan was about to respond, Gu Qingfeng stated that he would like one. Understanding the cue, Fatty Wang hurried after the vendor without buying for Xu Fan. However, no matter how much Fatty Wang called, the vendor, as if deaf, walked into an alley and disappeared. They couldn't believe a heavyweight could run fast for the sake of food. Fatty Wang followed but soon screamed in terror. When Gu Qingfeng arrived, Fatty Wang was pointing at a dead end, exclaiming that the vendor had vanished. Gu Qingfeng and Xu Fan thoroughly inspected the area, finding no signs of traps or hidden exits. Considering Fatty Wang's level as a martial artist, it was concluded that the vendor's disappearance indicated they were at least a true energy realm practitioner or a hidden expert. If that was the case, they could have solved the child abduction issue themselves, suggesting that the vendor was a demon. Now they needed evidence to confirm this theory. Gu Qingfeng then turned his attention to a few children playing nearby, believing they must have seen something while playing in the area. He approached a child with a top-knot hairstyle to ask if any suspicious persons had been seen recently. Unexpectedly, the child retorted, asking if anyone was more suspicious than they were and whether they had money to pay for the information. Fatty Wang, infuriated by the child's response, rolled up his sleeves and threatened to teach the child a lesson. To his surprise, Xu Fan made no move to intervene, which left him feeling embarrassed. Gu Qingfeng handed 2 copper coins to the child, asking if a candied hawthorn seller had been seen recently. To his astonishment, after taking the money, the child claimed that no such vendor had been seen. Frustrated, Gu Qingfeng questioned why the child had taken the money without providing any information when suddenly, the sky darkened unexpectedly. Startled, Fatty Wang grabbed Gu Qingfeng's hand, wanting to leave quickly. At that moment, a hand landed on his shoulder and village head Hu Liang appeared behind them. He invited them to dine at his home, saying he had already prepared a meal. Gu Qingfeng readily agreed, but Fatty Wang, sensing something sinister in the village, urged him to leave early. Gu Qingfeng dismissed his concerns, but when he turned around, he noticed that the children they had just seen were now gone. Sensing something was off with these consecutive disappearances, Gu Qingfeng turned to Hu Liang and remarked sarcastically about the interesting nature of the village, noting that people vanished in an instant. However, Hu Liang responded with surprise, questioning why there would be children outside at such a late hour, especially after recent demon disturbances. Fatty Wang clung to Gu Qingfeng in fear upon hearing this. Gu Qingfeng pondered if Hu Liang was telling the truth. If he was, then both the vendor and the children must have been demons. He even suspected that something might be wrong with the village head and the entire village. To test his theory, Gu Qingfeng devised a small experiment. He asked Xu Fan and Fatty Wang to turn their heads and then look back on the count of 3 to see if Hu Liang would also disappear. As expected, when they turned back, Hu Liang was gone. This terrified Fatty Wang, who clung to Xu Fan. Although Gu Qingfeng was not scared, he felt annoyed. His desire for candied hawthorn had gone unfulfilled. He had been tricked out of 2 copper coins by the children, and even the village head seemed to be playing tricks on him. Frustrated, Gu Qingfeng instructed that every house in the village should be searched by Fatty Wang and Xu Fan, as he was determined to find the missing people. However, when Fatty Wang and Xu Fan returned after searching, their findings were shockingly identical. Both the east and west sides of the village were completely deserted. Growing increasingly fearful, Fatty Wang suggested that they should return and call for backup. However, Gu Qingfeng ignored him, wondering if they had been under an illusion since entering the village. With this thought in mind, he immediately inquired of his system why no feedback had been received about becoming stronger despite being under an illusion. The system replied that 2 possibilities existed. First, the illusion was not cast by a demon but was instead man-made. Second, it was a demon's illusion, similar to sleight of hand, which caused no harm and thus triggered no system response. Gu Qingfeng understood the distinction, recalling that the eye demon's illusion in the demon-quelling prison had attacked his mind, triggering the system, while the later illusion had not constituted an attack. Since no harm had been suffered this time, the system had remained unresponsive. Having understood this, Gu Qingfeng drew his goose feather blade, determined to investigate the dry bone forest. Upon arriving at the dry bone forest with Fatty Wang and Xu Fan, Gu Qingfeng called out loudly for Hu Liang and began searching without hesitation, laughing eerily as if he were at home. Fatty Wang and Xu Fan marveled at Gu Qingfeng's fearlessness, pondering who the real demon was, as Gu Qingfeng seemed too terrifying. They felt a strange sense of security around him. He, unlike other teams from the Demon Quelling Bureau, boldly sought out demons instead of cautiously avoiding them. Fatty Wang and Xu Fan decided that they would never deceive Gu Qingfeng, while the hidden demon in the forest wondered if Gu Qingfeng was even human, given the lack of fear he displayed. The demon hesitated to attack, wary of drawing the attention of the Demon Quelling Bureau, as he had limited time, unlike the Blood God. Eventually, Gu Qingfeng and his companions reached a graveyard. Drawing on his gaming experience, Gu Qingfeng expected a boss battle but received no response from the tombstones. This led him to question whether anything was truly amiss. Suddenly, Fatty Wang screamed and collapsed, pointing at a tombstone and muttering incoherently. It was discovered by Gu Qingfeng that the tombstone bore Hu Liang's name. Fatty Wang, recalling Hu Liang's recent dinner invitation, felt weak at the knees. Upon realizing that Hu Liang was deceased, Gu Qingfeng concluded that the tombstones must have belonged to the residents of Blackwater Village and that they had encountered Hu Liang's soul. Filled with anger, Gu Qingfeng kicked Hu Liang's tombstone to pieces and ordered Fatty Wang and Xu Fan to dig up the grave. Both hesitated, fearing divine retribution for such an act, but eventually complied under Gu Qingfeng's authority. Soon, they unearthed a coffin into which Gu Qingfeng leaped and kicked it open, revealing a withered corpse. Shockingly, the corpse's eyes suddenly opened, and it stood up stiffly, appearing to have turned into a zombie. Gu Qingfeng didn't care what the entity had become. It was simply kicked by him, sending it flying away. He claimed it was for deceiving him. However, as Xu Fan watched Hu Liang fly away, he sensed something was wrong, noting that the corpse seemed recently deceased yet emitted a strong odor of decay. Although Hu Liang had turned into a zombie, the transformation had occurred recently, and since he was not a martial artist in life, he was just a low-level zombie, roughly equivalent to the 4th level of the energy-gathering realm, posing no threat. Xu Fan deduced that the entity that had deceived Gu Qingfeng was Hu Liang's soul, and the zombie they were now seeing was Hu Liang's reanimated corpse, which lacked intelligence. Upon hearing this, Gu Qingfeng felt displeased, realizing that the main culprit had not been found and that their search might have been in vain. Suddenly, a strange purple mist began to emanate from Hu Liang's body, spreading throughout the graveyard. Innumerable withered hands then emerged from the ground. A horde of zombies arose and began to attack them. Faced with the overwhelming number of zombies, Fatty Wang and Xu Fan struggled to cope and considered retreating. However, Gu Qingfeng felt excited and declared that there was no need to retreat, as the real show was just beginning. He stood still, allowing the zombies to swarm him. Fatty Wang and Xu Fan watched in concern, but in the next moment, Gu Qingfeng activated his Golden Bell shield, which repelled the zombies. He found the situation not thrilling enough and decided to test the talismans given by the Demon Quelling Bureau on the remaining zombies. When a talisman was thrown at a zombie, he felt unimpressed by its trajectory and weak effect, as only one zombie was subdued. He then tried the brighter fire talismans, which were rarer and seemed more valuable. As expected, the fire talisman engulfed several zombies in flames, turning them into dark vapors. Fatty Wang and Xu Fan were astonished by the power of the fire talisman, but Gu Qingfeng was less satisfied, feeling it was a loss given his fire mastery skills. Meanwhile, a dark figure in a tree behind them observed and muttered that such a strong body had even mastered the Golden Bell shield and iron cloth robe. It was noted that his blood quality must have been higher than that of an average True Energy Realm martial artist, making him perfect for the Blood God's requirements. There was no longer any need to lure a mysterious ranked demon hunter. The figure then controlled strands of strange purple mist, which were directed towards Gu Qingfeng. Gu Qingfeng instinctively dodged the purple mist, but to his surprise, when it hit the ground, it formed a vortex that began pulling in nearby body parts. Soon, numerous body parts accumulated into a small mountain and merged into a disgusting monster that towered over 10 meters tall. He was alive and felt as if he had returned home to the graveyard, kicking zombies as he pleased. Confronted with the giant monster assembled from countless body parts, Fatty Wang and Xu Fan turned pale with fear, while Gu Qingfeng felt exhilarated. He was curious about the monster's strength and told Fatty Wang and Xu Fan to keep their distance. Then he threw another bright fire talisman, which pierced through the monster's waist with a loud bang, prompting Gu Qingfeng to comment on its weakness. However, the monster's waist rapidly regenerated in just a few seconds. Xu Fan urgently advised Gu Qingfeng that such aggregate monsters typically had a core, and the core of this zombie-made creature must be its head. Impatient, Gu Qingfeng dismissed the idea of searching for the core, considering it a simple task for his sword. He drew Yanmo and used the Sunfire sword, engulfing the giant monster in flames until it exploded. Seeing how the monster was defeated, Xu Fan asked Gu Qingfeng if it was true that he was only at the 4th level of the energy gathering realm and not a powerful expert in disguise. Gu Qingfeng casually denied it and continued deeper into the dry bone forest, urging them to follow since they hadn't found the deceiver yet. However, shortly after, Xu Fan mysteriously vanished. To understand the nature of Xu Fan's disappearance, Gu Qingfeng decided to use Fatty Wang for an experiment. As expected, when he turned back, Fatty Wang was being dragged into a water sphere, struggling silently. Gu Qingfeng immediately dived into the water sphere, and after a spatial shift, they woke up to the same scene as when they had first arrived at Blackwater Village. At that moment, Xu Fan, who had previously vanished, reappeared. Upon seeing Xu Fan, Fatty Wang became alert and stepped in front of Gu Qingfeng, warning that this person could not be the real Xu Fan. Here's a rewritten version of your content in past tense, using simpler terms and transforming quoted lines into passive sentences. Upon hearing this, doubts were expressed by Xu Fan regarding Fatty Wang's identity, with suspicions raised that he might be a demon. As the two argued back and forth without reaching a conclusion, a simple test was thought of by Gu Qingfeng. Each of them should cut him lightly with a knife to see the system's reaction and determine if they were demons. Although Fatty Wang and Xu Fan were initially puzzled by this request, compliance was shown, knowing that Gu Qingfeng's Golden Bell shield and iron cloth robe could easily withstand a light touch. After they did this, the system panel was checked by Gu Qingfeng, revealing that no points were awarded, which confirmed they were human and not demons. Xu Fan, who had arrived earlier, then shared his analysis, suggesting that their situation resembled a dark domain, an other dimensional space that was independent of reality, and created by powerful, uniquely talented demons. It was noted that these demons could resonate with the laws of nature, twisting reality to form their own domains. Confusion was expressed by Gu Qingfeng as he questioned how beings less powerful than Grandmasters could resonate with the laws of nature, something even Grandmasters could not do. Xu Fan agreed, admitting his own lack of understanding and speculating that the world might favor demons more. He emphasized that to escape a dark domain, the rules must first be understood. Excitement filled Gu Qingfeng at the idea of a challenging escape room game, leading him to dash toward Blackwater Village. Fatty Wang asked Xu Fan what they should be wary of, but before caution could be advised by Xu Fan, Gu Qingfeng rushed at Hu Liang and punched him, causing him to shatter like glass. Astonishment was felt by Fatty Wang and Xu Fan as they witnessed Hu Liang break apart. In disbelief, Xu Fan muttered that they were facing a mirror demon, which was thought to have died 200 years ago. Meanwhile, Gu Qingfeng squatted to examine the shattered pieces of Hu Liang, puzzled about why he had turned into a mirror. Before a warning could be given by Xu Fan, a piece was picked up by Gu Qingfeng, and as he looked into it, he was sucked into the mirror and vanished. Witnessing this, Xu Fan panicked, realizing that Gu Qingfeng had been absorbed by the mirror demon. He lamented that after overcoming so many challenges, Gu Qingfeng had fallen into a trap. They were in the dark domain of the mirror demon, where looking into a mirror pulled one into a mirrored space. To escape, one had to defeat a duplicate of themselves. 200 years ago, the Blood Demon had emerged, founding the Blood Demon sect and gathering demonic beings. The strongest 7 were known as the 7 Demon Generals, and the Mirror Demon was the third among them. After hearing this, Fatty Wang asked Xu Fan what they should do now and if Gu Qingfeng had any chance of winning against the Mirror Demon based on Xu Fan's knowledge. Xu Fan's response was pessimistic. He stated that winning was impossible because the duplicate would always win due to its tirelessness, fearlessness, emotionlessness, and absolute rationality. These traits ensured it would not make mistakes like humans. He recalled that a famous quote from the Mirror Demon 200 years ago was said to be, "The only one who can be defeated by you is yourself." Since Gu Qingfeng had already been absorbed, a way out needed to be found, as they would be trapped if he died. Meanwhile, inside the mirrored space, Gu Qingfeng curiously examined his duplicate, noting that it looked exactly like him and was equally handsome. This comment, overheard by the duplicate, led it to sarcastically ask if Gu Qingfeng had no shame. Gu Qingfeng was startled, not expecting the duplicate to speak, but he reasoned that, as an independent copy of himself, it would naturally be able to talk. However, he was more concerned about whether the system could be duplicated. Upon learning from the system that it could not be duplicated, he felt confident about the situation. Realizing this was a great opportunity to become stronger and possibly exploit a flaw, he thought he could continuously grow stronger as they fought each other, given that the duplicate's strength was equal to his. Emboldened by this thought, Gu Qingfeng threw a punch at the duplicate, which responded in kind. Their fists collided without either gaining an advantage. Neither was injured due to their Vajra body, and Gu Qingfeng was surprised to find that the duplicate also possessed this skill. He then drew the Wood King's sword and stabbed it into the ground. Numerous violent vines rose and enveloped the duplicate, transforming the space into a forest. This move was a special technique of the Wood King's sword, known as 1,000 Woods, 10,000 Forests, Myriad Forms. It remained formidable despite the sword's downgraded level. Gu Qingfeng had never used this technique against anyone else before, as no one had pushed him to exert his full strength until that moment. However, before he could rejoice for long, the duplicate, entangled in vines, broke free and executed the Wood King's sword's technique as well. Soon, numerous vines intertwined, making it difficult to distinguish between them, and then they exploded with a loud bang. Gu Qingfeng had not expected this demonic entity to replicate even a mysterious rank spirit weapon, proving itself worthy of being one of the 7 demon generals. He then drew his Wood King sword, using his fire mastery talent to imbue it with Grandmaster level White Bone Wraithfire, and unleashed the Sunfire sword at the duplicate. The duplicate, undeterred, countered with its own black sword energy, neutralizing Gu Qingfeng's attack. Gu Qingfeng was surprised that the duplicate also possessed the fire mastery talent. The duplicate then mocked him, asking if he was feeling desperate yet. Unexpectedly, Gu Qingfeng simply lay down, urging the duplicate to attack quickly and not waste time. This response shocked the duplicate, which questioned Gu Qingfeng's apparent surrender. Gu Qingfeng thought it futile to continue fighting, preferring to wait and regain strength. The duplicate, unsure of Gu Qingfeng's tactics, but confident in their equal power, launched an attack with the Wood King's sword, binding him with numerous black vines. It swiftly approached and pummeled him, yet he remained unscathed, prompting him to scold the duplicate for not using the more effective Sunfire sword, powered by Whitebone Wraithfire. As the duplicate realized this, a blood shadow suddenly entered its body, completely altering its aura as if it had transformed into a different entity. Gu Qingfeng instantly understood that the true master had arrived and taunted the mirror demon. It was acknowledged that he was the mirror demon, the third of the 7 demon generals. This statement struck a nerve with the mirror demon, who corrected Gu Qingfeng while holding his chin. He was stated to be the second and claimed that, in terms of strength and talent, he could not be inferior to the first. It was asserted that he was indeed the second strongest under Lord Blood Demon. Hearing this, Gu Qingfeng realized there were internal conflicts among the 7 demon generals and asked the mirror demon about his intentions. The mirror demon, planting the Wood King's sword into the ground, straightforwardly proposed that Gu Qingfeng, with strength comparable to a grandmaster despite his young age, should submit to him and assist in reviving Lord Blood Demon in exchange for his life. Upon hearing this, Gu Qingfeng suddenly had an epiphany. It was realized that all of this was about killing the people in Blackwater Village and luring the demon hunter there just to resurrect the Blood Demon. His reply confirmed this. It was affirmed that he was somewhat intelligent. It had been originally planned that his blood would be sacrificed to the Blood God, but considering his strength, a reluctant offer was made to take him into the Blood Demon sect. He was asked if he was willing to submit. It was questioned why, if a copy of him had already been created, his submission was still needed. The mirror demon explained that the copy could not leave the mirror space and stated that if Gu Qingfeng died, the copy would die too. Hearing this, Gu Qingfeng burst into laughter. Without further questioning, the mirror demon revealed his entire plan. Was he so eager for others to know he wanted to resurrect the Blood Demon? Indeed, the saying that villains die because of their verbosity held true. The mirror demon scoffed, suggesting that there was no need to hide anything from a dead man. However, Gu Qingfeng sighed, and it was remarked that he was an idiot and that no wonder he was the third one. This statement instantly enraged the mirror demon, who unleashed the Sunfire Sword at Gu Qingfeng. This was exactly what Gu Qingfeng had been waiting for. He had engaged in a lengthy conversation just to provoke this attack and test whether it could break the limit of his Vajra body. For this, he had even deliberately turned off his fire mastery talent, allowing the sword to strike him. A loud boom followed, and the system notified that the host was attacked by the mirror demon, adding 1,000 to his defense. Congratulations were given for breaking the defense limit, evolving the Vajra body into the Vajra indestructible body. Accompanied by the system's prompt, Gu Qingfeng felt himself grow stronger, and a thrilling sensation washed over him. He continued to provoke, asking if that was all the mirror demon had. Enraged, the mirror demon relentlessly executed dozens of Sunfire swords, significantly boosting Gu Qingfeng's defense. However, after repeated unsuccessful attacks, the mirror demon's stamina began to falter. Trembling, he asked Gu Qingfeng what kind of constitution he had that made even Grandmaster level attacks ineffective against him.